Hello, my name is Frances Fox, and I'm a trained remote viewer. All my psychic skills are trained and honed and checked and rechecked to make sure that my accuracy rate is very high, not for me to feel good, but to know that we can depend upon what it is that I see. So I am very happy with Revelations. You know that Revelations is a part of planetary cycles, right? This whole Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking thing happens to be in Revelations, doing Revelations. Oh my God. Yes, this is good. I'm going to remind you again, if you work with the energies in the other dimensions at this time, it would be Revelations. You're going to get support. Guess what? The United States is getting incredible support. Look at this map. Look at this map. Double protection. This is totally separate reality from everybody else. Now, they could also have this. They don't all have it, I can guarantee that. Totally separate reality. In other words, if some dingbat decides to do something crazy and sets off some kind of a planetary event, the United States is protected. Then you have at least two Merkabahs, which is protection from the Federation, the Galactic Federation, at least two. I can't sketch everything because then you won't be able to see the map. Then we have, this is like the crown chakra, but even more than just the crown chakra. My pen was running out of ink. So you can't see how beautiful this lavender would be. Basically, same color as my shirt, between my shirt and my lipstick. Great. Florida, great energy, still controlled. Trying not to look like they're such good friends, Elon and Trump. We should thank them just for that. We're going to have better relationships, better friendships. We're going to be able to go back to having barbecues and picnics and going to the beach with other families. We all stopped doing that stuff. You know why? The bad ETs put implants in our left leg, which channels the energy of helpful friends in feng shui. They put implants so the energy doesn't flow. And then we're kind of angry, but it's not the anger, it was the implants. The energy of helpful friends does not flow in human beings. And yet Elon Musk and Trump are creating something of a healing. This is good. California, healing? How is that possible? The Northeast, also green, healing. That was where the bad guys. And then at the bottom, total victory over the bad guys. I'm going to say it because what I wanted to put was total victory over the deep state. And then I started to worry. Maybe I shouldn't say total victory over the deep state. And then this point, it says gold. I don't know what that means. At the top, of course, emotional and spiritual exhaustion. So I'm going to tell you something that should make you less tired. Those of you that are caught up in this and that seem to be on the same side that I'm on, thank you for the compliment. I'm feeling like really cranky. I want to bite somebody's head off. I'm getting some interesting texts, which are worrisome. They're pretending that they know me, and I know they don't. I don't know if there's some kind of coded message. I don't know. I'm a mind control victim. I found a bruise on my arm. I did not do that. I don't think. It's something happened that because I'm a mind control victim and they know how to whatever. So I'm like, yeah. So I decided to sketch myself because I was sure this was coming from somebody that I know, one of my staff members. It's not. It's mine. It's mine. And then I realized transference of energy. Miami has to be really hot right now because of all the connection with Epstein, the sex trafficking, the Kennedy thing, blah, 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 blah. So because energy transfers, we have all got to be feeling really, really heavy. And then we have Trump and Elon and the whole intelligence team with all these people that hate them, that look at them, which those create vectors, and it channels the energy of these people with their hate towards them. So I think a lot of the heaviness that we're all feeling really has to do with heaviness for people that are on the wrong side of the line, that because of revelations are getting found out. Um, and I think that if we remember that, we'll remember that it's not us. We didn't do anything wrong. It's not that we don't have it all together. It's not that we're falling apart. It's that we're in a process. But if you're listening to this chat and you've heard it before, you're probably kind of on the same page with me, at which time we're in a good place, but there's a lot of people that are not in a good place. They're paying attention to what we're doing. I'm doing, Trump is doing, Elon is doing. If you're not with the team that's going down with revelations and what you're doing. So I just want to remind the people that have taken over the baton in terms of this country that they need to know that a lot of that they're feeling is not even their own. It's the guys that lost and that are losing still. And maybe that'll make you feel a little better. In my case, when I sketch myself, it's all my stuff. But then there's that additional heaviness. So I wanted to say that. Intention creates reality. Okay. So you cannot have a problem unless you need it. At some level, you intended to have that problem. So I just want to look very quickly over the problem having to do with that reporter being included in a thread. Is it called a thread? With the intelligence team. And he played games, and then all of a sudden he said, okay, I'm going to release everything, and they're going on and on about it, and I really can't get it straight. But last week I had picked up the whole thing about the communications, and I had picked up that there's a group, a power group, of what we would call the bad guys, and they have their own communication system set up with a separate satellite. Now, I don't know anything about technology. Maybe you're going to say, oh, people do that all the time. Oh, okay, well, I didn't know that. So I'm just saying it. But I think that there are people working full time to try to take down the intelligence team. They weren't able to do it with Trump, so they were going to try it with their people. I told you 2 days ago, I think they're circling me to see what they can do. They went into my Shopify, my store, and they're only looking at the link from what I can see because they leave their name and address there and spending $0. I don't know where what are they looking for? They're not going to be able to pin anything on me in terms of money because guess what? I remember my control telling me 40 years ago when I was questioning, hello, working for free, if I had to go to New York for the government, I had to pay for the plane ticket. This isn't right. And he said, listen, no, you're not going to ever be paid. You're too important. And people can track money. So get over it. Okay. So the tracking of the money is important. That's why I think they're trying to figure out, and they played games with my bank account, which I'll tell you another little aside. I was getting my tax papers prepared. I had to screenshot several documents to send to the bookkeeper, and with my phone. And I may not get the language right because I'm not oriented towards technology. I don't want to get addicted. So I'm doing my little screenshots, and there was 8 of them, I think, 8 pages, and one of them ended up being a movie. And I thought that's weird because for it to be a movie, you have to move from photo to video, right? I didn't do that. And it was like, duh, 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 duh. So I said, let me see which document has ended up being a movie, a video. It was from a bank statement, but it was from a bank that I had said to a member of my family, get out of that bank, get out of that bank, because that bank is a setup. They're going to play games with the money. I knew it because I had inside information. That was the document that ended up being a video rather than a little photo. Why am I saying this? Oh, because I'm so accurate. No, that's an example of the type of thing that happens when people do black magic. And the people that own that bank, which is a Miami-based bank, are totally up to here into black magic. And so that's the kind of weird thing that happens. You go, how did this happen? And it has to do with, in this case, them not wanting me and members of my family and other people to actually look at the bank statements, see what's going on in the bank account because they were playing with it. I'm trying to get you trained. When there's something weird that happens, you should stop and ask, why does this happen? Now, it is entirely possible that my finger slipped, but what a coincidence that it is a group of people, a bank that won awards that are into black magic. So that account, I knew that they were playing games with it. And the kind of games that they would play would include making sure that I would be a space cadet and not really pay attention so that they could get away with whatever they were doing. Schiff is back. He was back yesterday. So let me give you my diagnosis. Adam Schiff. He was here at the entrance of my office and we checked him. I had my group check. I can see him. I don't need for anybody to tell me, oh yeah, we see him. So he looks desperate. Now we have to reach a conclusion. This man does not want me dead because his astral spirit is here. That's not, if he wanted me dead, it would be a different way. He wants something from me. What does he want from me? I think this man was my control. What does that mean? People like me have a control. Some big deal guy that you never meet. Okay? My experience from years ago in Washington, I think he might have been my control. So he needs something from me. What does he need from me? I have no idea. He was desperate. But this is the interesting part. He had 2 stormtroopers with him. Stormtroopers? Star Wars? Come on. So I already said this, and I know that makes me sound like a flake. I don't really care if you think I sound like a flake. I'm trying to teach you to be intuitive. So, oh, she sounds like a flake is not, that's not an intelligent response. You look, you observe, you can say, I think she's a little bit off on this, but let me keep listening. So today I said, why would he be here with 2 stormtroopers? What is this trying to tell me? What happens in the other dimensions, a lot of times you get help. You get information that tells you what you need to know, but in a way that you can understand. So, okay, so what would stormtroopers mean to me? Those are the bad galactics. Dang it! This man is working with off-planet forces. He's working with the bad guys off-planet, the same way the Nazis did. That's why they were able to do so much. Remember, the mind control program I was in was a continuation of a Nazi program. Now, I've seen him 2 or 3 times in my doorway with the stormtroopers, and I have not understood it. I understand now. That image was created for me to understand who Adam Schiff is. I don't know that he was my control. I don't know that. I suspect it. But let me continue with that. If he is my control, I don't know, then my handler worked for him. My handler was the biggest guy in Miami having to do with mind control. I can't say his name because his daughter and son-in-law are lawyers in Miami and they threaten my children with the legal system, He told them that my problem with him, my handler, was that I was in love with him. Okay. That's why his car was parked in front of my house and he was pretending like he was washing his car in front of my house. That's why I went to his daughter 2 years ago and said, help me with your dad, get him off my back. It's okay. He needed to say something, I guess. So if this guy was my control, he certainly was high up in the program, because if not, he wouldn't show up here with 2 galactic ETs. He wouldn't. The question is, what does he need from me? What is he looking for? He looks desperate. And when my group, the Montristas, checked him, they said, the guy's desperate. He is desperate. You know what we did? We iced him down. We put him in an igloo. Remember, I'm training you how to work in the other dimensions so that you can get a grip on your reality where it's created and where you can make changes easier. So I said, let's ice him down because he couldn't be this bad and this mean and this invaded by the devil. The devil's fruit is fire, unless he has a lot of fire. So they did. And he ended up being like really tiny. I know it sounds strange, but that's the way the other dimensions work. I'm not going to be like the medical doctors and other people in this country that go, I don't want to worry your pretty little head about this, so I'm not going to tell you the whole truth. No, no. I'll just tell you enough and I'll take care of the rest of my. No, I'm going to give you what it is that I know. I can make mistakes. And if I find out that I do, or you find one, you tell me and I'll come back and correct it. But I need to give you the information because we need to move it along. So Adam Schiff is still totally operational. He was extremely active last night. Weird stuff happening around me, including so his connection to Miami would be huge, which means his connection to the base in Homestead would be huge because my handler had the people in Homestead totally wrapped around his finger. The military base in Homestead. I hope they don't send some tankers tonight to take me down. So, this is so weird. I don't remember where my head was because you can imagine I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know where my head was. And all of a sudden, I got Goober, Guber. That's a very American name. Okay. And I went, I think that's his name, his code name, Schiff. I could be totally off on this, so I'm telling you that now because I didn't take the time and I'm not going to take the time. But I thought to choose a name like that, that has some kind of a meaning. So guess what in the definition, one of my living masters, he's passed already, told me that I was not allowed to talk about anything unless I looked up the definition first. Wow, the man was right. So here's the definition of Goober: to pilot, to steer, to govern, to manage. That's a definition of a control. So you might want to look up Goober, having to do with messages. I don't know, who's ever listening to this chat, whoever could get to the people that are running around trying to get this all wrapped up so that these bad people can't continue to function. So, back to why do I need this problem? Back to the communication with the thread and the intelligence team, and this reporter got it. That feels like a total setup. But I'm going to repeat again. I had picked up about a week ago that the bad guys have a separate satellite. I hope that doesn't sound stupid. For their communication. I don't know if that information is helpful to whoever might be trying to get this all figured out. Black magic could also do that. I'm telling you, the little example I gave about the screenshot versus a little video of my account it's an example. I kind of knew there was something weird, but that's not a good example. If the Mayans with black magic were able to cover 2 or 3 megalopolis, in other words, cities that were huge in northern Guatemala for centuries to where nobody would find them, with black magic, you can use black magic to get somebody added to a thread. You just have to be very good at it. But if you're working with the bad galactics, there's no problem. So I have no idea how to resolve that issue. I have no idea. Somebody on my chat who's very psychic is saying he wants my help. Schiff, Adam Schiff. I'm telling you, the man is crazed. He's very active. Why does he come when I'm doing my chats? I don't get I haven't seen him at night in my bedroom, but that part I'm not getting. There's a lot of stuff that I see and I don't quite understand, and I don't take the time to figure it out. But anyway, so why do we need that problem that's happening to where the whole intelligence community got grilled by Congress? Why do you need that problem? That's because you have a problem with communications. And there is a problem with communications for all of us. So it's something that I have to assume that's already getting taken care of. But you're supposed to ask that question of any problem that you have. You only have a problem on planet Earth at this time in human history if you need it. And when everything comes out about the sex trafficking, talk about my life now, the sex trafficking, and me having been with Kennedy, because I spent years figuring out all the different things that happened to me, the different experiences that I had, why I would have needed that. And I kind of got them all figured out, including my handler, who for several years was almost destroying my chats, my Mantrista movement, me with microwave weapons, with black magic, with all sorts of things. Why would I need that? We learned so much about magic, black magic, with the stuff he was doing to me in particular, and some to the group. So I would keep saying, why do I need this guy to still be around? Haven't I finished with him? In other words, I shouldn't need him anymore. And it continued. So, oh, here I got a thread. And hundreds of people can tell you this is true. For a long time, when the Mantrista group that we would get together in the chats would check me, they saw me inside a sarcophagus. He had a fragment of me that he had put away, that he was in control of. Here goes needing the tissue. That means I'm saying stuff that's important. So why am I saying this now? Because the whole Egypt stuff is coming up. And my handler was a specialist in Egyptian magic. And I think you're going to find some tie-in with Adam Schiff there. Or if you find that Adam Schiff was if you look into stuff, very into Egyptian stuff, I think it will be another thread tying him perhaps to my handler. If Adam Schiff was my control, then he absolutely was the control of my handler. And Adam Schiff would have been very involved having to do with aliens. No question. I'm not going to go into that. So I'm not sure how helpful that is to people, but if somebody could please get that man, and again, you could stick him in a cell and you give him time to get on the phone to talk to other people, he doesn't need to walk around. He could have been sitting on his sofa at home. His physical body and his spirit could be right here, was right here. His physical body was not here. And people have a very hard time dealing with that. But that's because you're not aware. When black magic, strong black magic is done, the black magician attaches a spirit to the job, to the curse, and it's that spirit's job to anchor that curse, that intention on the person. It can last hundreds of years. The thing with the Mayan megalopolis cities that were only recently discovered and science is still trying to figure out, why did nobody see that? And then where did they go to? The usual question. We couldn't see it because they put a veil over it in the other dimensions. And on the physical dimension, we couldn't see it. What's going on in Egypt with the pyramids has always been there. We couldn't see it. So our power's in the other dimensions, not in the physical. So can somebody please take care of Adam Schiff? Can we take care of him? But you need to track everything of his. Everything. because I think it will lead you to what you're looking for, which is, or what we're all would like to finish with, which is the bad guys, the guys that have been around for decades, hundreds of years, perhaps, continuation. And that kind of activity where they use, like my handler specializing in Egyptian black magic, they make magic look bad. There's black magic and there's white magic. There's not enough of the white magic, which is what I am bringing to the table to teach people white magic. And where did I learn the most? Seeing what black magicians are capable of doing. Okay, so why did we need that problem in this country with the communication with the intelligence team? Because there's a problem with communication. And I'm sure that if anybody is capable of dealing with that, it will be Elon Musk. But I would prefer that he not get involved in everything that's going to make people angry. We need to kind of, I'm going to say that he should feel very good, and I think he probably does feel very good about the fact that so many people are standing up so intensely to defend him, and that people are pouring through the law books to see what they can do to the people who very stupidly are acting out their frustration on his cars and in his dealership. It's stupid, but it's very damaging. And I think it's actually been very beautiful the way the whole Trump team has stood up and said, we're not going to take this. How do you like them apples? By the way, National Public Radio. Oh, God, I love it. For years, well, for a long time, when I would flip stations in my car, a lot of times I went to National Public Radio. And then one day I said, I don't know why I'm listening to these people. This was years ago, before I know everything that I know now and before I said to somebody, did you notice their voices? Their voices sound very artificial. They sound like they're very high up, which means they're not grounded, which according to the Lord's Prayer, the original Aramaic, means they're susceptible to spirit invasion, to evil. I said, their voices, they don't sound real. And they're delivering this information and they're so elegant. Then I find out today that they have zero Republican, they have 80 some Democrats on their staff and zero Republicans. It's not that I'm not a Republican. I'm Francis Fox. I'm not a Republican. It's not a question. I used to probably, if somebody asked, I would say, well, I'm probably a Democrat. Forget that now, because things deteriorated terribly. But National Public Radio, the quality of the voice will tell you the quality of their energy. The same way, if you have a lot of issues with your voice, you may have sex issues. Why would that be? You know how they castrated people in the past, the men, so that they would sing higher or whatever? Well, that sing higher, that's what National Public Radio. I lost the thread because I went and I read a little thing on the chat. I'm sorry. So why do we need this problem? Communication is an issue. But when I look at the map, we're doing great. And why are we doing great? Well, yes, Trump, Elon, the team, yes. But we're doing great because what we are doing, okay, is in sync with what the planet is supposed to be doing, which is relations, which includes who killed Kennedy, all the sex trafficking, the pyramids. They've always been there. Now all of a sudden there's more there. How can that be? Because we're in Revelations. What else is going to come out? An awful lot of stuff, and it's going to create a lot of havoc. It's going to, just the same way what's going on now with these revelations with Congress and their incomes. Oh my God, well, that was always there. Why didn't you? What? Because we're in Revelations, we can actually see it now. We can see it. Catholic Church. For centuries, everybody knew they were sexually abusing. There were books written about it. Houses of prostitution. In Latin America, I don't know what percentage, but I have to tell you, too many of my friends from Latin America remember the priest from their town and he had a woman and they had two children. I'm not talking one, I'm talking standard behavior, not with everybody. But now it's a problem. Well, why wasn't it a problem before? Revelations. It's another layer of being aware. This is good. We're doing good. I'm not complaining. Take care of Adam Schiff. Who's ever listening that has the ability, take care of Adam Schiff. You don't have the ability, you can help. All you do is you grab him by the neck and you put him inside an igloo. He will lose his vitality and all of his power. And because he is absolutely controlled by the devil, remember the devil doesn't come from this planet. Absolutely controlled by the devil. Their food is fire. You put out the fire and that's it. They lose their oomph. They lose everything. So you want to help me out and the planet out and this country out? Just visualize him frozen inside a block of ice or in an igloo with a little door. If you want to have a little bit of compassion, you shouldn't have, because he's not him. He is definitely a person whose soul is gone. So if you think about him 6 times a day, go back and put him in the igloo. Maybe with no door. I don't want him here. Why does he come during a chat? I don't understand. You would think if he wants something from me, he would come at a time when I wouldn't be busy. Oh, well, maybe because he used to show up in my bedroom with a syringe this long. So maybe he's thinking I'll be busy and I won't pay attention. I have no idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and do a little bit of mantras and then we will be finished. I'm happy and you should be happy too. But before we do the mantra, here's your little metaphysical exercise. We found out Jesus Christ tried to tell us with that lance when he was crucified that it pierced his liver, that we needed to look at the liver. We looked at the liver. The back of the liver is invaded with a conduit, like the movie Matrix, where they put that thing here, the plug. Orion, the planet, which is where the devil is supposed to be from, Orion put an implant in the back of all of our livers. Okay. In the Matrix, there is something in that implant, that tube that goes into the person, and the person is different. In that implant from Orion, in the back of everybody's liver, there is a nectar that comes from Orion that is infused into our liver, which is the energy of evil. Okay. So I do not want anybody to say, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to tell you how to do that. And it's very simple. You go ahead and you stand to your spirit stands to the side of your physical body. Here's your physical body facing this way. You're here and you're looking at the back of your physical body. Orion's over here. You don't need to deal with Orion. And here's this thing like the back, like Matrix. You go ahead and you wrap something around that tube. So you create, in other words, there's a tube and then it's like you grab it here but with something. And then you call in St. Michael. He's got a sword that's flaming, and St. Michael will cut that. And then you have an intention that whatever is still stuck to the back of your body, that it get pulled out. Even just simply the cutting of it means that you're not getting infused from Orion. The movie Matrix created the impression it did because at some level, we knew that movie was accurate. The problem with it is that in the movie is only one here. We have them a few other places. And the important one is the one in the back of the liver. When that is cut, you are no longer being infused with evil. So you ask, and I've asked people, where's love in people? Oh, in the heart, da, da, da. Okay. Where's evil? And people will go, that's right, because it's not in us. It's being infused into us. So if you do that every day to yourself, and you can do it to people that you love, And you can go, well, I don't know how to do it. I just told you how to do it. You look at yourself from the side, your spirit, which separates. Every night it astral travels. You're going to start to learn to do it during the day. You see yourself from the side. This is you facing that way. There's this tube. You don't have to worry about Orion. You get something, fabric, whatever, in your head. You tie it to where it's not just a tube, but it has it's like this, and then you tie it so that it stays like that. And then you say, Michael, do me a favor. And he comes and he cuts it. And then you could try it yourself to yank out what's still in the back of the liver, or you can leave it and just say whoever, because it's usually not St. Michael. Just remove whatever's still stuck to my liver. You have to put a cube of ice inside your liver, in the back of the liver, to cool down the liver. Any Chinese medicine person will tell you when the liver gets hot, you get cranky, you don't digest well. So we need to cool down the liver. But the main thing we need to do is stop being infused with evil, which is what Christ was trying to tell us on the cross. Because that lance didn't have to be there. They weren't killing him with the lance. They were killing him with him hanging there, I guess, after several days. I really don't know. We don't really need to know that. So that's your exercise, and you can do it right now while I'm writing the mantra for the for 5 minutes that we're going to do of mantra therapy. Okay? Wow. I hope I don't sound like I'm whining when I'm talking about myself. It is really, really, really frustrating. Okay. Oh, this is the one. Okay. This is the mantra. I want you to grade yourself from 1 to 10. 1, you feel god awful. 10, you feel great. I want you to grade yourself right now. Where are you at? What number? I want you to look at the gold dress. What's the quality of the color? Is it bright gold, bright white, or is it blue and bronze? Or is it like dull white and gold? Not looking so bright for me today, but these days have been a little complicated. Okay, there's the mantra, and we're going to put on the video Agni, which means fire. This is a video that puts out fire. Fire gives you insomnia. You can't have insomnia unless you have extra fire. Okay? Anxiety, frustration, anger, rage, irritability, emotional, a lack of emotional control, a lack of physical control, murder, and suicide. All have to do with too much fire. Frustration, anxiety, frustration, insomnia, frustration, anxiety are the lower levels. You don't have that much fire. You have too much, but not. And then you go to the murder and to the suicide, where it's too much. And then remember that the evil thing comes from out of the planet. So if you every day go and you cut that, your life is going to be very different. You're going to feel it. Okay? Let me get the music, and we're going to do just 5 minutes because I have a workshop after this. Okay? And here we go. How do you do the mantras? You repeat them silently in your head. You expel the breath through your mouth. You can direct the mantra to a part of your body. If you want to direct it to your liver, you can, because that's where most of our rage is, our anger, frustrations, whatever. Or just simply take care of the breath. And let's do 5 minutes, but you already checked yourself as to how you feel now, and then afterwards we're going to check again. Ah, the dress is shinier. Oh, this little session really worked for me. Okay, where are you at from 1 to 10? Where are you at? And see what percentage you improved. The reason I insist on the numbers is because that seems to anchor it in your mind. And you go, you know what? I improved like 40%, 4 points. And we did 5.5 minutes with this little mantra. That's like magical. Yeah. You don't need drugs. You need a proper diagnosis and then some magical tools, most of which have been known about for centuries. I have one more thing to say. When I did my therapy in the 90s and everybody just kind of stepped back when I told them my story, they didn't believe me because they didn't know anything. They didn't know I had a secret life, which continued then. So they were not too sure. And I remember I said to them one day, to a friend of mine who was a psychologist, I said, listen, I was crying. I said, you see what I'm going through now? And you guys are kind of like, I said, your children are going to go through this. You're not getting it. Do you know why we're going to be able to find all of these? I'm talking about Adam Schiff again and the mind control. They never thought that people would get out from under the mind control, but we're in Revelations. There was no way it was going to continue. So it's, I think, going to be relatively easy to track. Still going to run into the bad guys. They're still going to do their bad things, but there's no way that it can stay hidden. It's also the explanation for how could we have been so stupid? How did these things that happened with the US aid thing, how's that possible? Americans are intelligent. Mind control. The Congress people and people that I've watched for decades, and they're kind of decent people. And then they're all of a sudden, we see that they changed. I think you need to consider mind control. And I'm not saying that it's a blanket thing that forgives everything and everything gets taken care of. No. But you don't really have another good explanation on how everybody could be that asleep. Do you? You don't have a good explanation. So you need to consider that, which means that as you pull that thread and you start finding and breaking apart that system, it's going to make a huge difference. People wake up. Like in the 90s, I would go to therapy and oh my God, I did what? Oh my God, was that the reason I was there? Oh my, it's like it had never happened to me. Yeah, it had happened. Mind control. Anyway, thank you. Wish me luck on my chat on what I'm doing next, even though it's very simple. And I enjoy it because I do healings, but I put myself in. So I'm getting a healing. And I put my whole family in. So they're getting a healing too. So it's like okay. Thank you for joining me. Take care of Adam Schiff, please. He's scary. He really is scary.